repeat what he says.
Okay, so I can just go in and
Now in Congress, he works tirelessly to promote a strong national defense in the mold of his mentor, President Ronald Reagan. And I can tell you, he also led the fight to balance the budget for the first time in America back in 1997, the first time the budget had been balanced since 1969, ironically, the year I was born. I have to tell you, as governor of Ohio, he has slashed taxes by nearly $5 billion while also strengthening education for the next generation. He has also worked tirelessly to ensure that the Ohio that he inherited with $8 billion in the hole is now an Ohio that is $2 billion in surplus. Oh, and did I mention, when he took office, John Kasich's Ohio had an unemployment rate of over 9%. Today, it is 5.2%. Something is working in the Buckeye State. And Governor Kasich has told me over the years, Ron, courage is contagious. And I can tell you, his courage, his steadfast determination to do the right things, despite politics, has made him a great governor, a great leader, and now someone who is running for president of the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to introduce my friend, to introduce my mentor, the governor of the great state of Ohio, John Kasich.
CPAC, I came as, I think, a state senator many years ago. I've always loved to come to CPAC, and it's great to be here today in a little different situation. And so why don't we get to it? And I want to tell you, we got a lot of young people here, so I want to make sure that I have a few words for all of you. Because you're sitting out here and you're wondering, this guy's on the stage, could it be me? You know, any young man or woman that's here today, of course it can. Just have big hopes and big dreams. But I want to tell you that I have been very lucky in my life. You see, in 1976, there was almost a brokered convention. And it was at that time that I got to meet Ronald Reagan. And I want to tell you about it. I'd knock on people's doors at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. They'd come answering their doors like, why are you banging on my doors? I said, I need to get Ronald Reagan on the ballot. Just sign the ballot and I'll go away. And the fact is we got him on the ballot, and then I was at the convention with Governor Reagan, and I had, at a very young age, found myself in charge of 5 states for Governor Reagan. And he lost that convention, but I was also up there when he told people at the end, he said, you know, I may have lost the battle, but I have not lost the war. And he came back, of course, 4 years later, and he kicked down the door, because you need to understand something about Ronald Reagan. The establishment never liked him. They never liked Reagan, they never liked Newt Gingrich, and they don't like me. Why? Because we're change agents. That's why. Because we want to bring change to the way this country works. And we don't take orders from lobbyists or special interests or people who live on K Street. We're here to try to serve the country. So Reagan was an incredible man because he had a strong ideology, conservative philosophy. Government is a last resort, not as a first resort. And I was honed in that as a very young man. In 1982, I ran for Congress. I was 30 years of age, and I ran on the Reagan philosophy: lower taxes, balanced budgets, economic growth, common sense regulations. And in 1982, nobody wanted to appear with Ronald Reagan. It was great, because that meant I got to spend more time with Ronald Reagan. And he came and campaigned for me in Ohio. And in 1982, running on Reagan principles of tax cuts and less spending and less regulation and individual power, the strength and the power of the individual, in 1982, I was the only Republican in America to defeat an incumbent Democrat running on a conservative message. Shared, of course, Ronald Reagan's philosophy on building a strong defense. And I want you to know when I'm president and I sit across the chair or the table from Vladimir Putin, when he looks into my eyes all the way to my soul, you know what he'll see? A freedom fighter. That's what Putin will see. So I went to Congress and participated in military buildup, but I also have to tell you that I also found waste and abuse inside the Department of Defense, and I fought it. You know why? We can't squander resources. We have to make sure that the resources we spend on defense get to our men and women in uniform on the front lines and doesn't get squandered by bureaucrats or defense contractors that are not playing fair. And then 6 years into my term as a congressman, I got on the budget committee. And there were people that, that said, well, we can kind of manage this budget. And I looked